yes. No matter what you're lucky, yes. Everybody go beat that.
That's Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom! If you put it toye, so would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey.
Is that his car?
Dial star 712#. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
This week on Sister Sister, join Chris Carter and her fabulous sisters as they dish out real talk and honest advice to a woman who finds herself stuck between her loving husband and her boss with benefits.
I've been in a romantic relationship with my boss for the past 5 years. Throughout that time, he has taken good care of me, emotionally, physically, and financially. He even extended his generosity to my family, and honestly, I never lacked anything. From the start, we agreed on one thing. Whenever I found the man I truly wanted to marry, I would introduce him and he will respectfully part ways. Sisters, I'm torn. I truly love my husband and I don't want to break his heart. At the same time, I'm afraid of being unemployed. My husband is working, yes, but I'm worried about losing my financial independence. What should I do?
I think that it's not going to help you. So straightforward, I would say, don't do it.
Now, if you are sleeping with your boss, you better make sure that it is a relationship that's going to end in a committed one.
Yes, you love your husband, but you don't respect your husband. Because if you respected your husband, you won't get married to him and still be in the job with your ex.
Tune in this Friday at 9 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV. Sister Sister, real stories, real women, real talk. Sister Sister is proudly sponsored by Gino. Gino truly cares.
In a nation full of questions, where truth often hides behind noise, one show dares to ask what truly matters face to face. With fearless clarity and a quest for accountability, host Umaru Sanda Amadou sits down with the movers and shakers of politics, governance, society, and business, confronting the issues that define our national conversation.
The party itself has said that whenever you're in opposition, you should choose flag bearers early.
So what you are trying to tell me is that you want somebody who is going out to come and select a leader for you. So the next person will come and say, but I didn't select him.
Direct victim of attack, violent attack.
Where and when?
The first one happened in Parliament. I was pregnant.
Now, for me, it was legitimized by a radio or TV station giving her a position to work.
So for you, take issue with GH1 and what and giving her the platform.
That is where the minority is. We are on them. We've asked questions.
President Mahama will be a mean president if he prioritized only his children and DCP. He needs to demonstrate a Ghanaian government.
Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umaru Sanda Amadou on Face to Face as he digs deeper, challenges power, and reveals the stories shaping Ghana's future. Only on Channel 1 TV.
In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensah.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
Hello again. Thank you for keeping faith with us here on Channel One Television. This is Breakfast Daily, and of course, we're reminding you that we're still in the month of October, the Pink October, and we're still raising awareness on breast cancer. We're asking that you get tested, get checked, so that together we can all fight this particular disease. Early detection leads to prevention, so get tested and know your status. For both male and female, it's important. The men, don't think that it's a female problem. No, it's a general problem. And so you need to get tested, all right? It's time to get into our personality profile. And what an honor it is for me. Listen, if we begin to speak about who this man is, what he has done, what he's achieved, and if you like, his outlook, especially for the education sector, we won't finish. I'm not sure we'll have enough time to do this, but we'll try as much as possible to milk enough from him, because he's quite a busy man. So if you're fortunate enough to have him in your studios, you should do your best to get the best out of him. Hopefully I'm able to do that. So let me tell you about who this absolutely fantastic individual is. He's a renowned Ghanaian educationist and global thought leader. His career spans over 3 decades, including leadership roles in UNESCO and advisory positions with institutions such as the Luminous Fund, TTEL, Jacobs Foundation, Yidan Prize Foundation, MC2H Foundation, and the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. Now, he argues that framing African children, teachers, and communities in deficit terms undermines their identity, agency, and potential. All right, now just think about it. While I tell you that it is my utmost pleasure to have our personality for the day to talk about his life, career, family, and everything else that matters. Please help me welcome Professor Kwame Acheampong. Prof, it's good to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's such an honor for me. It's such an honor for me, and I'm grateful. You people should be taking pictures of us so I can frame this and tell my children later on that I sat with the good Prof. All right, Prof. So, I mean, there's so much we can talk about in this particular interview, all right? But let's start from you as an individual. Let's take off all the hats.
Okay.
All right, all the many hats.
All right.
And let's talk about Prof.
Okay.
Kwame Acheampong.
Yes.
Tell us who you are. How did even life start for you?
Okay, as you said, my name is Kwame Acheampong. I started my whole life education in Ghana, actually, even though I moved to the UK to work for many years.
Right.
I was born in Kumasi. And then my father then moved to the University of Cape Coast as one of the administrators to set up the university. And that's where I had my primary education, my secondary education, and actually my tertiary education. I went to the University of Cape Coast.
Right.
So I trained at the University of Cape Coast to be...
But in senior high was which school?
I went to Adesadel.
Oh, of course.
I'm a Santa Clausian. A very proud Santa Clausian. So I went to university there. I studied science. I did chemistry and mathematics. And then I started my teaching career in secondary education, secondary schools in Ghana. And so there are 4 of us. My father, we had 4 children. I'm the second. I have an older sister and a brother and a sister and a younger sister. So I spent almost all my early life in Cape Coast. I had my education, like I've said, and yes, that's where a lot of that happened. My formative years, my formative education years started, and because we lived on the university campus, I was very early on introduced to the idea of academia, of research, of So this is where I think you seeing lecturers, seeing professors work and do research. I think I became much more socialized into that kind of environment, and this is where a lot of my early years.
How fascinating was it for you?
Well, it was because I at the university at the time, there were a lot of studies that were done on children. I can recollect being part of those studies. At that time, I didn't understand what these researchers were doing, but I recollect us being tested on certain concepts and ideas. So I really got used to the idea of research, learning. But I have to add that it was a very privileged environment. And there were some interesting things about it. One is that at the time the education I received was based on a completely English curriculum.
Okay.
So it's sad when I reflect at the time that we did very little about Ghana. I learned a lot about England than I did about the country. So it was unlike I think many people. I would say I was quite privileged to be in that kind of environment. That had a big impact on my outlook to life, and had a big impact on the way in which I saw problems of education. But like many people, I was also isolated from the real challenges of the ordinary Ghanaian, because I was in that kind of a bubble. So when I started my journey in research, I became very fascinated about what the other people who are in less privileged position experience and face. So I would say that those formative years, those years were really quite left a big impression on me. I remember my father, he was a secretary to many boards on the university campus, and so he would come home and be writing his minutes and talking about discussions that were happening in sometimes in those meetings. So I really got, really socialized into this academic environment very early on.
Quite at an early age.
Very early age, yes.
So it's always been academia for you?
Yes, it has been.
If you hadn't found yourself in this space, what would you have been?
It's interesting because I wanted to join the military, actually.
You don't say.
I'm serious. I was in the cadet corps.
It would be interesting to see you in a uniform.
I was very passionate about the military. I was in the cadet corps for 7 years in Addis-Ababa. Right. And I really wanted to, inspired by the discipline. I think it was more the discipline and I enjoyed that. And so I don't think, apart from, getting into research and what I do now, was sometimes life takes us on different courses. So it's a little bit, some of it is a bit accidental, some of it is not really planned. But I had a fascination with being in the military at a very early, and not many people know that.
Interesting. So was there any contrast for you growing up on a university campus and then having to, go to school in Addis Ababa? Was there any contrast in there?
Yes, it was. One of the fascinating things about our education in Ghana, the way in which education, especially secondary education, has been set up, is that, in the university campus, I mingled with children of lecturers, professors, and it's a very close-knit community. Now, when I went to Addis Ababa, a boarding school, as you all know, I then came into contact with children from all over the country. And I think that's one of the interesting things about our boarding system. You begin to socialize with students or children who come from different parts of the country. And I remember very well the shock, because you then see people have different traditions and values, speak different languages. So that was a very big shock. I was in a bubble, if you like, in the university. Then I went to secondary school, and then I was exposed to many people from different backgrounds. And so it was an interesting time of my life, but also a time where I, started thinking, okay, people have different experiences, very much unlike mine, but we all meet in this crucible, and we have to find our way. We begin to socialize, and I got much more exposed to a wider sense of the Ghanaian community from different parts of the country. So I think that's one thing that I have learned about the value of our secondary education system. The boarding school has its challenges, but I think one of the reasons that often is being given for it is that it's a way of bringing us together from different cultures. That's when I met people from the north, from the east, from the south. So it was a completely different experience for me.
Yeah, but then the exposure was great.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic, and it was quite brutal to us, as you know. There was a bullying, and at the time, you look back and you think, how could they have allowed those things to happen? Because it was quite, I'm sure. I hope that it's not like that these days. But you are thrown into the deep. Now, but the thing is that one of the things that struck me about our secondary system at the time, my experience was that the school was run by students.
Okay.
This is something that I was not used to. In fact, you only saw the headmaster at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. And the prefects and everything, it was basically run by students. So you could see how leadership were being nurtured into leadership.
Exactly.
If you had to see the headmaster or the housemaster, this was very serious. So I think this is a culture that we nurtured in our secondary schools that really helped us become leaders. So it really struck me, because I thought we would be managed and heralded around by teachers. But it was completely run by the prefects and at the top level, but also the house and in the dining hall. Everything was done by the students. I think this is something that we don't give much attention to, but it's a very good experience for
Let's look at Kwame Champong there at Disco Boy. What type of students were you?
Well, I was quite. By my very nature, I'm a little bit laid back, you know. So I was a student who was, you know, in a way a bit shy, but I was very also much interested in sports. So that is where I expressed myself. So I remember doing cross country. I played table tennis. I was also in the Scripture Union. So it offered me, though because I was a little bit reserved, these opportunities to engage in sporting activities, to join clubs and societies, really helped to really bring me out and make me a part of the community or in the school. So it was an area. It was a time of exploring different interests. Like I said, I was in the Cadet Corps, which was something many people would not have associated me with, but it was exciting because it's a new adventure, and I absolutely loved it. Yes.
Wow, great stuff. So after at Disador, you had to go to university, and then you went back to UCC.
Yes, I went to university.
With all the exposure you had at this school, you didn't find it interesting to move out?
No, I went. You know, I mean, I went to UCC. And I'm happy I did. You know, UCC is where I grew up, and I wanted to be. You know, at the time when you went to UCC, you were going down the route of a teacher.
Yes, in what year?
I went to UCC in 1982.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a time when I was training to be a teacher, but I wanted to be a scientist, a chemist. So I studied chemistry and mathematics. So it was when my interest in the sciences was developed, and so this is why I say I'm a real Cape Coast style, you know, because I didn't go anywhere. For you know, if you think about it, I went to nursery school in Cape Coast, to University of Cape Coast. I went to primary school. I went to secondary school at the Saddle, and I went to university there. So all my early academic life was really at the University of Cape Coast.
Wow. But were you exposed to the Cape Coast town?
Oh, very much, very much.
What are some of your fond memories from back then?
Well, I think if I can remember, when it came to Afashe, Afashe was a big thing in Cape Coast. We always looked at it with excitement. I was also a keen football fan, and I used to go to the Cape Coast Stadium to watch matches. It was very exciting. We remember that like I said, I was very much sheltered in the university campus. So those were the early forays into life outside. So Cape Coast was Cape Coast is a beautiful place. I mean, I still have very fond memories of the place anytime I go there. So I enjoyed the town.
Wow. So UCC, chemistry, mathematics.
Yes.
And then we're training to be a teacher.
Yes.
Wow. Tell us about the teaching experience.
Well, I mean, the teaching experience is very interesting because I was training to be a science teacher, and I went to Wesley Girls to teach in the early years, and I taught chemistry and mathematics. It was the first time that I really started realizing the importance of communication, engaging with learners. I was privileged in another way because in Wesley Girls, you had some of the best students there. So teaching was quite challenging because sometimes I was teaching students who knew very much a lot, you know, what was going on. So it was a very good experience of teaching, but I was not teaching, as I'm sure we'll get to, I was teaching the elite Ghanaian girl who was coming to Wesley Girls. And so it was a very different experience, but I enjoyed the engagement with ideas. These were bright young women who really would challenge you as a teacher, would really inspire you. So those were very, very, it left a big impression on me. But also, I think it made me think of teaching as an easy thing, you know, because when you're teaching children or students who already really have a strong background, you think teaching is quite easy. But it nurtured my interest in teaching. I enjoyed it. I thought, if I can help these students to move to the next level, then that's a good thing. So I became very much interested in teaching. But at that time still, I was not interested in becoming a full-time Kenyan teacher. You know, teaching, you know, in me I became quite interested, but I wasn't thinking I would become a full-fledged teacher. I just enjoyed the experience for just about 2 years.
Right, so you grew up on a university campus, then you went to an all-male school at Disado, came back to the university campus, and now you have to teach an all-female school. I mean, bright students, of course, so definitely we expect a good teacher. But was there any challenge regarding the communication part of the teaching?
Well, I mean, there wasn't much of a challenge. I think the thing that struck me about teaching in a what I would call a special school like Wesley Girls, coming from the background I come from, was that I realized that a lot of teaching was not simply about what I could impart, but also engaging in what the students were bringing.
Okay.
And these students were coming from very, I would say many of them privileged backgrounds who had very good insights. And so communicating with them was at a level which I could engage and they could relate to me. It was initially a little bit difficult because I'd never taught in a girls' school. I actually wanted to go and teach in my secondary school at the Saddle. But I was invited by the then headmistress, Mrs. Achampong, to see if I could help the students. And then, so I started some kind of when I did what we call teaching practice there, and then I thought, okay, let me continue there. So the communication wasn't too much of a problem. Yes, it wasn't too much.
How many years did you teach before having to go to the UK?
Well, I taught in Wesley Girls, I think it was about 2 years, but I didn't go immediately from there.
Okay.
Then I was recruited as a teaching assistant at the University of Cape Coast.
Oh.
So I was a teaching assistant, and I was teaching chemistry education and maths education.
Okay.
So I did that for another 2 years before I went abroad to study.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So now we're in the UK.
Yes.
Yes. So let's know the UK story.
Okay. Yes, well, I sometimes life throws things in your way which you don't expect. I had a scholarship to go and study at the University of Leeds.
Okay.
In 1989, 1990. And then but the scholarship was not in an area which I thought I was going to pursue. If you remember, I said I was, my first passion was in chemistry.
Chemistry, yes.
But the scholarship was in mathematics.
Oh, okay.
Mathematics education. And I thought, well, anyway, I did that. So I went to the University of Leeds for 2 years, where I took a master's in mathematics and mathematics education. And then soon after, I returned to Ghana. So those 2 years were very interesting. Now, but let me recount an interesting experience.
Right.
When I went to study in Leeds, one of the things that shocked me was the fact that before we started the course, I went and bought my books, everything to write my notes and everything. And I went into the first lecture, waiting for the lecturer to tell me, so that as we do in Ghana. And all the lectures were not telling us anything. They were expecting us rather to do the reading and tell them. We were doing about 60 to 70% of the talking. And I was a bit disappointed because I thought, but I haven't come here for you to just listen to me.
Yeah.
But that was really an eye-opening because they were interested in what I thought.
Okay.
My experience here had been, the teachers are not interested in what I think.
Yeah.
It's what the teachers think.
Exactly.
Is what I.
Yeah.
Then they say, but what do you think? And I'm thinking, well, what do I think? But what does the textbook say? No.
Exactly.
What do you think? Do you agree with it or not? So this idea of exploring my own imagination was really, and I struggled. I would say for the first 6 months, I was lost. I thought,
because you were not used to that system.
I'm not used to that system. But that really, after 6 months, I started enjoying. I was spending time in the library. I came into the lecture room. I could read a text and say, well, I don't exactly agree with this. And I had the boldness, the courage to say it, which was not something that I had been trained to do. So I think this was very, 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 very critical. I remember I wrote an essay and my lecturer said, okay, that's fine. But what do you think? I said, but I've cited from all these sources. He said, yes, but what's your view?
What are your own thoughts?
Yes. So when I started expressing my view, he said, yes, but why don't you put them down? He said, well, am I allowed to? He said, yes. So there's this in our school, say that what we call
passport and forget.
I mean, socializing, think, okay, you read your text, your lecturers expect you to, and you produce that. So that was the first time that I started having faith in my own ideas, in my own thinking, and was brave enough to express it. Now, I wasn't always right, but at least I was given the space to talk about it. And I think this was a completely different reversal of what I'd experienced way back in Ghana at the time.
And so you were juxtaposing the two.
Yes, exactly. And I felt it shocked me because actually I learned a lot more. My confidence in learning grew significantly.
Wow.
And I thought, but why didn't I experience that? And I was with other African students, and we were all the same. You know, they were all gone to school and thought that they have to listen to what.
Exactly.
When what is written in the textbook is
we
the
are
gospel.
dictated to, we take notes, we go and memorize and come and reproduce.
Exactly.
Right.
But then I learned that was not what. So I think it opened my eyes to what is education? What are we trying to do? What is problem solving? What is creativity? And my relationship with my lecturers was also very different. You know, back in Ghana, at the university, we're afraid of our lecturers. You know, if this is Professor so and so, you really don't contradict that person. But here we were encouraged to contradict them, to challenge them. And I had a little bit of that when I was in Wesley Girls, because the students were quite bright and they were quite agentic. They would question you. And so I think that really started making me think, well, maybe there's something we are missing in our education. But that really was a very crucial moment where I started believing that I was not just there for somebody to pour knowledge into me, but I was a co-creator of knowledge. And what I had was of value.
And that must have felt really good.
Oh, it was very empowering. It was very
I can imagine.
I can imagine. Because all you know, you begin to think, actually, what I have to say is very important. And if you talk to a professor and say, well, and I write an essay, and half of it is my ideas, critiquing what is there, and he says, this is excellent. You know, you can imagine how you feel.
Exactly. For once, my thoughts matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that was really an epiphany for me. I really started beginning to see just how important education is in the kind of education you have is very key. Wonderful. You know, we talk about creativity, innovation. We don't teach it. You have to give students the opportunity to experience it, and because every person has that in him or her. And I think going to do my master's at the time opened that opportunity for me.
So at that point, were you thinking about replicating that style back home?
Yes, I was thinking of that, and I had a shock when I came back home and I tried to do that. After Leeds, I came back to Ghana for another 2 years, and I started trying to implement what I was doing. My students at the University of Cape Coast, I will remember I came back to the University of Cape to teach. They loved it. They loved what I was doing. But every other lecture they went to, lectures were doing the opposite. So you can imagine that they enjoyed the fact that I gave them that latitude to express themselves, but this was not the general experience they were having.
They were not used to it.
Yeah, they were not used to it. But I like to challenge them. I tried to make learning something that was exciting. I valued what they had to say. Nothing they said was stupid. Everybody had a brain, can think. So yeah, it was a very, very, very positive experience. Yeah.
Prof, reconceptualizing Ghana's learning crisis, lessons from our own classrooms.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
Well, if you permit me, let me take a step back before I get into the classroom. You know, in the global, there's a global preoccupation with the learning crisis. It is if you're familiar or if you've been reading the international development literature, there is a global learning crisis. And much of this learning crisis you can find in reports that have been written about learning in Africa, but it is mostly concentrated on Africa. Africa takes a center stage when it comes to the global learning crisis. Now, what is it actually? What is this learning crisis before we move into the classroom? Now, in 2022, UNICEF estimates that there are about 224 million children who are out of school. These are globally, 224. And after that, there are about 67 million who are between the ages of 6 to 11 in primary school who are out of school. The majority of these children are in Africa. Africa is the only region where the out-of-school population is growing, whereas everywhere in the world it is decreasing.
Okay.
And it's also in the region. Africa is the only continent where the out-of-school children is higher for girls than in other regions.
Okay.
So there's a concern in the global community that Africa, since 1999, when we opened the gates for improved access to education. You know, we had F-Cube in Ghana, free compulsory universal basic education. You know, this movement to really get children into school. this was a big moment, and millions of children came to school. But in the case of Africa, what has happened is that as more children came into school, something else was happening. The quality of teaching and learning was declining. So what we have had in Africa is we have had access to education, but people have access, but the access to learning has declined. And because of that, many of these children are dropping out. And like I said, it's the fastest in the world when it comes to the continent. So you asked about the classroom in what happens in the African. The narrative, the solution that the global development organizations, the World Bank have if like proffered for Africa, is that we focus on foundational literacy and numeracy. Because many children are dropping out of school after 3 to 4 years. In fact, many children are not able to read a single sentence after 5 years of education. This is quite serious. Now, many of us may not be aware of this because we are around people who are very successful. Ghana is also suffering from that crisis. So they prescribe solutions that I have been involved with. I have been engaged in. I sit as a co-chair of the Global Education Advisory Panel. We advise low and middle income countries how to address the problem. So many of these problems, the solutions have come from research and ideas from the global north. And we've been trying them and trying to address this problem. And I've been involved in this for about 30 years. And I got to a point where I realized it's not working. There's something not right. Even though we are putting a lot of money into Africa. I mean, we've spent in Ghana more than 2 billion cedis in our reforms since the 90s. But our learning outcomes are not improving.
What was missing?
Well, this is where the question you asked about the classroom is that. We started doing research. I started doing some research in the last 10 to 15 years. And I realized that what was missing is that we had constructed the African child, the African classroom in deficit. We look, and often this is also about Africa. We look at Africa in deficit terms. So it's always about what we don't have. It's always about what we are lacking. And then there are prescriptions. So if you look at the solutions that are being, the African child is constructed as poor, unintelligent, needy, needing help, needing redemption. And these are ideas being present. So this is how we've approached the solution, approached the problem. And teachers in the same way. So we've given teachers tools to solve the problem. We haven't talked about what is it in the African classroom that makes it children succeed and learn. And this is what my research found. So in the African classroom, what we found was that we have to have an African identity when it comes to the African classroom. And there are characteristics of this identity that are very essential for improving learning. I don't know whether, maybe I'm going ahead of myself, but the thing is that we found, now you remember I said there are millions of children out of school. In Africa, it's a big problem. We found that children who have been out of school after 3 years, 2-3 years, who are dropped out because they were not learning, we took those children and gave them a 10-month accelerated learning program. And the gap that had been created as a result of the fact that they had dropped out was closed. And then when we tracked them, they even outperformed children in school.
The 3 years of absence from school, you were able to accelerate the education in 10 months.
In 10 months.
And they were able to close that gap.
Yes, definitely.
That's amazing.
Yes, we did it in Ghana, in Ethiopia, and in Liberia.
Wow.
So then we asked the question, what is the problem? The problem is not the child. The problem is us. The problem is what solutions we are offering. What is it that we are doing wrong? And you see, we have projected the problem onto the African child. If you look at images of African children, if you take books and documents, the African child is projected as somebody without any agency, without any ability to express their knowledge. You remember I talked about my own experience. It's the same thing that is mirrored there. But we were able to take 10 months in all these 3 countries. In northern Ghana, we have the School for Life program, what we call also complementary basic education. We've managed to take over 250,000 Ghanaian children who were out of school back into the mainstream system just after a year. So it made me ask myself, the problem is not really the child. And what is it that we have created in the African classroom that is made this successful. So this goes, I've gone back a little bit, but this comes to your question. And so the book that we've written, what we're talking about is what did we find that makes the African child so successful? When I shared the data, the evidence with the Ethiopian government, they were very skeptical. And they were worried. Now, they were skeptical and worried because if you think about it, 3 years of education, do you know how much it costs for a child for 3 years?
For 3 years.
So I remember the Ministry of Education in Ethiopia asked me, are you saying that we are spending three times as much as we need? And you're able to do that? We said yes.
Months.
And they achieved the same results? I said yes.
Wow.
So it makes economic sense. If we can get children to be able to achieve the levels we want them to achieve, then clearly we are
in a shorter period.
In a shorter period. But the children who had gone through these classrooms were also different children. What we saw was that they were more confident. See, learning is not about simply literacy and numeracy. Our critique of the global learning crisis, it has been reduced to testing children in literacy and numeracy.
Right.
But learning is much more about that. We are not saying that it is important, not important. It is very important. But we have to take a very holistic view of learning.
Exactly.
And we found that for the African child, if you nest the African child within the context of their culture, their values, you do not only improve their literacy and numeracy within a short period of time, you make them more confident learners. And when they transition into later years of school, they become even more successful. So we were able to find what is it about the African classroom that is unique to the African child that can promote their learning. This is what was missing in the solutions that were being offered.
So basically the right environment for the African child.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of criticism about when you go into there are two scenarios you can see. If you go into a complementary basic education classroom, and I advise people to go and look at it if they have opportunity, some in Kumasi, some in the north. If you go there and you ask them, what is it that they are doing in those classrooms? You find something very unique. If you go to many of the classrooms, you see there's a chorus question and answer. The teacher asks something, the student responds, and that kind of thing. If you go to a complementary basic education, you see a completely different environment. You see children who are more agentic. You see children who are engaging. You see our culture, the dancing, the vibrancy, and the learning taking place. It is magic. Why don't we make sure that every child in Ghana has that experience? So I think we shouldn't undervalue those things that we see. Our poetry, the songs, our language, they are all critical agents if we are going to create that kind of environment.
Wow, this is quite fascinating, and I think it's a great job that you've done. But so what, is this available to anyone who's interested, or is it a document we're submitting to government?
Well, it is available. We launched this book in next week on Wednesday, and it's available to all. It's not only been written, you see, we were very mindful. We don't want to write purely an academic book. So we have a lot in there for policymakers. I've recently met the Minister of Education, who will be our special guest of honor for this launching of the book. So the main message, really, and my hope is that African governments will be bold enough to own a narrative about African education which they are proud of, which they can use to engage with the international community. It should not be the case that we just take prescriptions. It should be the case that our ideas about learning, education, intersects with what the global world. That's how come we can catch up and actually do even better than what our competitors are doing. So this is quite an important step, and in which one of the things we talk about is language. Language is one key thing that we think is missing, and we talk a lot about the importance of language of instruction in the early years.
Right. In all of this, when you say from crisis to possibility, what are you looking at?
Well, I think that one of the things that has really made me quite sad about the narrative about the global learning crisis is that there's too much emphasis on the crisis. Crisis often gives you, we should look at crisis as opening up an opportunity for us to learn and move forward. But I have worked in many countries in the world, and they don't use the language of crisis. They don't use the language of crisis. I was recently a fellow at the Robert Bosch Academy in Berlin. I spent a lot of time in German schools. They have similar problems that we have. I've spent a time in American, in Japanese schools. There are similar problems, but they don't use the language of crisis. They always look at their education in terms of possibilities. So when I talk about from crisis to possibility, I'm talking about what is it that we can do that is possible. Let's not use crisis. And because the crisis always means that we come up with emergency solutions, okay? But the problems are much deeper, and the solutions are actually with us.
True.
So we want to highlight the possibilities, not the possibilities that have come from outside, but possibilities that are within the African environment context. We have solutions to our problems. You know, I remember if you are a student of history, Kwame Nkrumah said something very interesting. He said, the African problem is it needs to be addressed with African solutions.
Right.
Our world is very different. You know, and if we don't look at solutions from our perspective, a lot of these solutions will not last. One of the tragedies I would say, in my journey in development is that I've seen many projects and programs with what we call the projectization of education. Anytime there's a problem, there's a project. Okay. Anytime there's a problem, there's a project.
Okay.
Anytime there's a problem, there's a project. Projects don't solve our problems. Okay. Projects serve the interest of those who are funding the project. And they will tell their stories. Oh, we did this project for 3 years, children are learning in Ghana, and then that's it. Another project comes in. So the possibilities that we are talking about the possibilities that really are the root of our education system. Now, let me be very clear. Ghana can become, or Africa can become, the beacon of hope for many people in the world. In fact, I was just last week again in Germany where we talked about Africa being the beacon. You know, in many parts of the world, the youth population is going down. Africa has the highest number of young people.
Right.
We may be the solution to the world's problem of unemployment. Africa is producing, we have young people who often don't have the jobs there. When you go to Europe, other places, they are not getting enough young people doing the things that we have. So Africa has a possibility. We have to look at Africa in terms of possibilities and celebrate what we are good at, and not be fixated on what we are not, because it has an impact on our mindset and how we approach our problem. Every time we see a problem, we construct it in terms of what we don't have. And we go and seek for solutions. But if we see a problem, we say, well, actually, we have solutions, and we look within ourselves. That's where the possibilities come from. So
wonderful stuff. But we'll find time to have a proper conversation about, you know, Ghana's education sector as a whole. We'll have to look at the curricula itself. We'll have to look at assessment, if you like. The mode of teaching and learning and all that. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. But let's look at the launch. When is it happening? Where is it happening? Who is it open to?
Okay, so the launch is on the 22nd of October. It's next week, Wednesday. It's happening at Kempinski Hotel. Unfortunately, it's by invitation. Let me use those of it, because the reason why we've made it by invitation is that we've targeted people who we feel should come and listen to this. And hopefully start a conversation that would really begin to change our imagination about what we do in our education system. Like I said, the Honorable Minister of Education is the special guest of honor. He's very much in love with some of the ideas we are presenting. And currently we are undergoing the review of the Ghanaian curriculum, and we hope that this will be an opportunity for us to use some of the ideas to do that. So it's next week, Wednesday. That's when we have the launch.
Very well. Prof says it's by invitation, but don't be too scared. If you don't get an invitation, go to citynewsroom.com. There's an opinion page from the book that's been published there, Reconceptualizing Ghana's Learning Crisis, Lessons from Our Own Classrooms. Go to www.citynewsroom.com and you should be able to access same. Perhaps this will whip your interest, and then of course we can all join in the conversation of reconceptualizing this particular crisis. Prof, this has been good. This has been great. I am so honored to have sat with you for this conversation. And yes, we look forward to the 22nd of October when this book will officially be launched, and then the conversations that will flow out from there. Thank you so much, and congratulations. We wish you well.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Grateful, grateful, grateful. All right, this is Breakfast Daily here on Channel One Television. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From not the block, she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter what you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
This November, something amazing is coming to Accra. Are you a farmer with fresh produce? Are you into fish farming, poultry or livestock? Then get ready for the November edition of the AgriFair 2025. Yes, AgriFair 2025. It's happening on Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November. It's happening at the A4 Sutherland Children's Park and it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. It's the ultimate weekend marketplace. From fruits and vegetables to poultry, livestock and fish to agro-inputs and processing machinery. All at unbeatable farm gate prices. Whether you're selling or buying, this is your chance to connect, trade and grow. Enjoy the freshest farm produce, sizzling kebabs, and a vibrant marketplace atmosphere all in one space. Register now and secure your spot. Call 0558-973-973 for more information. AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation. The AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM.
In a nation full of questions, where truth often hides behind noise, one show dares to ask what truly matters face to face. With fearless clarity and a quest for accountability, host Umaru Sanda Amadou sits down with the movers and shakers of politics, governance, society, and business, confronting the issues that define our national conversation.
The party itself has said that whenever you're in opposition, you should choose flag bearers early.
So what you are trying to tell me is that you want somebody who is going out to come and select a leader for you. So the next person will come and say, but how did they select him?
Direct victim of attack, violent attack.
Where and when?
The first one happened in Parliament. I was pregnant.
Now, for me, it was legitimized by a radio or TV station giving her a position to work.
So for you, take issue with GH1 and what and giving her the platform.
That is where the minority is. We are on them. We've asked questions.
President Mahama would be a mean president if he prioritized only his children and DCP. He needs to demonstrate a Ghanaian government.
Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umaru Sanda Amadou on Face to Face as he digs deeper, challenges power, and reveals the stories shaping Ghana's future. Only on Channel 1 TV.
This is still Breakfast Daily, where we bring you all the relevant conversations. We bring you, exciting and insightful conversations. And just gone by, we had done exactly that, where Nana Tufo spoke with Professor Kwame Echampong, who's a renowned educationist, done so much work within the space, and also bringing out, the conversation delved into his upcoming book, the learning crisis and all that and more. Really, really exciting conversation. If you missed that or you missed excerpts of that, you could log on to YouTube, Channel One TV. All of that is there on our page. But for now, we'll go back to the very important conversations we've been bringing you all through the month of October, because it's also the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now, we bring you a very short video on malware, what you need to know, and how you can be safe, you know, in this ever-increasing, ever-growing digital space. Let's take a look at this.
You thought this download was safe? Could it be a trap? Welcome to A Safer You, your guide to safer digital living, brought to you by Digital Unbounded and Channel One TV. Today we'll discuss 2 digital diseases that can make your electronic devices quite sick. Let's talk about malware. Malware is short for malicious software. Programs created to damage your files, steal your personal information, or secretly monitor what you do online. It sneaks in through downloads, fake links, or even infected USB sticks. You click what looks like a normal file, but hidden inside is the problem. Then there's ransomware, a special type of malware. Instead of just stealing data, ransomware locks up your important files, like a digital kidnapper, and demands payment before letting you get them back. Both malware and ransomware usually enter devices in the same way, through unsafe downloads, suspicious attachments, or software that looks real but isn't. They can sit quietly in your system for a while, then suddenly cause damage. Watch out for warning signs like your device suddenly slowing down, files disappearing, or strange pop-ups that you didn't open. These are signals that something isn't right. But here's the good news. Just like you'd visit a doctor when you're unwell, your device has its own kind of doctor too. It's called antivirus software. Think of it as your digital doctor, scanning for viruses, removing infections, and keeping your system healthy. It's that quiet guardian working behind the scenes to stop attacks before they spread. Consider it your dedicated digital doctor, proactively preventing illness. Maintaining healthy devices requires consistent care, much like our physical bodies. Here's your action plan. Install and regularly update reliable antivirus software on all your devices. Back up important files to a secure cloud or external drive. Be cautious with links and attachments. If it looks suspicious, don't click. Keep your apps and systems updated to close security gaps. Malware and ransomware are like digital diseases, but with the right habits, you can stay protected. Follow your action plan, stay alert, and keep your digital world safe. Stay smart, stay safe, stay a safer you. A Safer You is brought to you by Digital Unbounded in partnership with Channel One TV.
So I think the key takeaway from the video we've just seen is that if it looks suspicious, don't click. Like we often say on the show, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then it is a duck. So guys, let's keep safe. Let's spread the word, right? And let's get people to be digitally safe. On that note, we bring you a very important conversation with an emerging group, which is doing quite a bit in the space. And I'm referring to the People Building Institute. I've been joined by the convener, the moderator, and the panelists who will be speaking at this really important conference coming up pretty shortly. Lovetta, good morning and welcome to Breakfast Daily. Yeah. Good morning. Stephen, it's always a pleasure to have you. Stephen Doche, convener, right? Yeah. And of course, Kimberly Addison, a panelist, right? Yes. Amazing. Guys, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
I'll start with the convener, People Building Institute. How long have you been in place?
So People Building Institute has been in existence for 3 years. Yeah, in the past 3 years.
Yeah. And you are mainly focused on personal development.
So yeah, it's we want to develop young entrepreneurs basically, and then we also will look into helping career, people who wants to, advance in career. But the focus really is entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, it's interesting. Yeah. There have been people who have said that for all the issues that confront young people in the country right now, across sectors, right? Why entrepreneurship? Because they're like, see, if you go to the health sector, there's a whole drug abuse crisis, Why do you feel like entrepreneurship is really what the focus should be, particularly for young people?
Well, I think there are a lot more people in the country than the jobs. We find people running around the country looking for jobs. And if there are no jobs for them, what next? Then try and find something and do for yourself. And I believe that there is that one skill for every person. So how do we, bring it out there for you to be able to benefit from or make money from? So that is why the focus is on entrepreneurship.
Interesting. And as part of that, you've come up with a What is Wrong forum.
Yes.
Maybe I should come to Lovetta, right?
Right.
The name alone is like very intriguing. So beyond the name, what should we expect at this upcoming forum?
Right. So What is Wrong actually started as an online series. So last 2 years where we had the first edition, we just had experts come on board, hold sessions with young people and advise them as to the different aspects of their business, what they have to do.
Okay.
Now, yes, What is Wrong is intriguing because statistics tells us that many times businesses collapse by the time they are 1 year old or even by 3 years old, right? And so really what is causing this kind of collapse? That's why we named it What is Wrong, where we are actually tackling the problems head on. So now you're bringing it in person. That's why we have the forum. And then I'm sure we'll get there where we speak about the different parts of the forum and what we do. But basically it's about handling the conversation or having conversations that target the areas that needs focus or causes the businesses to collapse.
Interesting. So you'll be the moderator for this forum?
For the panel, yes.
For the panel, interesting.
Yeah.
I'll come to you on what kind of conversations to expect. But let me come to Kimberly. We know from data available, Afrobarometer, 60% of young people on the continent are 25 and below. Why do you feel like we should be having these conversations on entrepreneurship?
So the reason why we need to be having conversations on entrepreneurship is because if we look at Sub-Saharan Africa, like you said, we have the youngest youth population, but unfortunately, when we speak to a lot of our young people today, a lot of them are seeking greener pastures outside of Ghana or outside of the continent because there are no jobs. And so having these conversations on entrepreneurship is really to, rewire their mindset to realize that instead of searching for greener pastures elsewhere, the grass is green where you water it. So in order to make Ghana more attractive and, more livable, and it's best to build businesses and create industries and jobs.
Interesting. I think it was one former US president that said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So what sectors are we looking at particularly? Are we looking at industry? Are we looking at manufacturing? In terms of job creation or the entrepreneurship journey for young people, what will be like the primary focus?
Well, every aspect is needed, to be honest. But I would say one of the greatest focus we can focus on is actually agribusiness. So that's looking at what resources grow in Ghana. We have fertile soil, and how can we add value to them? Because for so long, our history has been, okay, we are the producers of raw materials, and then we export those raw materials outside, then import them back as finished goods. Now, if we add value to our own resources, we're helping create jobs and we're boosting the economy.
I mean, it's spot on for me because I listened to the Agric Minister, I listened to him on issues around the glut problem we're facing and the need for value addition on a lot of the farm produce we have in this country. Post-harvest losses, it's a major, conundrum for the country. But let me come to you again, Lovetta, and Stephen, I'll come to you on the details going forward. What would be some of the conversations we should expect at the forum?
Right. So just like Kimberly said, for the panel, for example, most of our panelists are in the value chain of agriculture? Well, Kimberly does chocolates from Ghana's cocoa, right? And then aside Kimberly, who is also on the panel, we have Stephen. Stephen is from Leather on Call. So what Stephen does is he uses the cup of your wine bottles, processes them into leather, and then of course use it for products. There is Michelle Ayerbi. She's Blue Carrots, also in agribusiness. Vegetables, fruits, making juice out of them. And there's also the Ghanaian farmer. I don't know if you've heard about her, but she's doing quite a lot in the agriculture space. And then while we have agriculture, another aspect that's coming up, which we want to throw a bit light on, is the creative space. We have a lot of social media content creators, YouTube content creators, etc. And so we are bringing on board Richie Mensah, Links Entertainment.
Yeah, obviously. No introduction.
Yes, because he's done so well in this space, bringing young talents up, etc. So we are bringing these people on board, and then the kind of things we're going to talk about is what happens when you have an idea. It's easy to have an idea, but how do you take that idea and make a business out of it? So if you're going to legalize your business, we're going to talk about how you're going to handle regulatory compliance. We are going to talk about how we are going to scale when we have to scale. The financial gap that's in the system, because that's also quite huge. We are going to look at customer service, the HR side of things. And then we are going to throw a lot of light on branding and strategy.
Interesting.
So there's keynotes on that actually. And then if you know Chocolate GH or Chocolate Clothing, Kweku Bediako, he is also a keynote speaker who will be talking to us about developing local businesses for global exports.
Wow.
So it's an exciting...
So it's a 360 view, right?
Yeah.
So from business conceptualization to the execution of it, and in between, all conversations along the value chain,
exactly,
value propositions for businesses, all of that will be discussed.
Yes.
Sounds exciting.
You're invited,
I'll be there. Thanks for the invitation. Stephen, so the dates, again, the times, and every other thing we need to know.
So it's on the 30th of October at the Stambik Business Incubator. So Stambik is, the incubator is actually a partner. They are supporting us in this venture, and then so it's at 12 p.m. The 30th is actually a Thursday. So
all right, cool. And it's happening at the Stambik Business Incubator at Stambik Heights.
No, it's at the Silver Star Tower.
Silver Star Tower. Yeah. That enclave confuses me a lot. Thanks for the clarity. But Kimberly, it's interesting. You're also a founder of a thriving, agribusiness brand, I could say, right? Yeah. Chocolate 57.
Yes.
Let me put you on the spot. What's been, that frustrating experience that almost got you like, I'm done with this,
honestly, there's been many. But
really?
I think I've never actually reached the point where I've said I've been done. I think it's more so, facing discouragement, but I've had to kind of, find solutions. So I think for me, the biggest upset that I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs have dealt with is human capital.
Yeah.
And that's very challenging. When you think about something like chocolate and you compare Ghana and Switzerland, in Switzerland, young people are trained to go into the chocolate industry and become chocolatiers.
Yeah.
In Ghana, we're the second largest producer of cocoa in the world, and yet there's no kind of educational system or vocational system around this major cash crop.
Yeah.
And so I realized quickly that, okay, so I need a great team to be able to build a great business. How do I go about doing this? And to be honest, for starters, we would hire people, people wouldn't show up, people would disappear. But then I realized I don't have a background in chocolate making, but I was trained. So I started adopting the mentality that whoever comes through 57 Chocolate's doors, they're an investment. So the key thing is to invest in your team and to really people develop. And that's how you build a great business.
Interesting. You mentioned, the average Ghanaian child and what they know about chocolate. I was thinking to myself, it's probably the movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's the closest, the average Ghanaian has come into, chocolate making and all of that. But that's interesting. And maybe, Stephen, at a later day, we need to talk about the impact, your group, people building institute, is having on young people. course, it sounds amazing, and we'll be there to support, the event. But finally, your final thoughts. I mean, maybe I'll start off with you, Roberta.
Yeah. Just to add a bit of detail to our program outline for the day. While people are registering, there is opportunity for them to let us know whether they want to pitch their business or not. So
also, we'll be pitching events for them as well.
Yes.
Is there a competition or is just an opportunity for them to?
It's an opportunity that comes with an award, but I don't say competition.
If there's a prize, then it is a competition, right?
Yeah, something close. So our top pitchers, they get the opportunity to be mentored. Like we said, we are building people. So this is not just a one-day event, and then when we are done, we leave you hanging. We want to walk the journey with you. So you have an opportunity to be mentored by business experts who just lead you. So that's one detail. And then to my last words, People Building Institute, just as the name says, it does exactly what it says. It's not just about building businesses or what you're doing for a living, but it's the people that make the business. And so we are looking at building your skills, your character, helping you develop your knowledge in this space, so that you can do wonderful things and replicate it.
I would even go to add that it has a way adds to the economy, right?
Right.
For the local economy, because if you have like young people who are in self-sustaining jobs, a lot more pressure is taken off government.
Exactly.
It all comes together. Amazing. Steve?
Yeah, so I just want to encourage every young person, if you haven't started your business yet, but you have a dream, if you've started and it's not going well, that's not the end of life. You just come to us.
Yeah.
We have the people.
Come just as you are.
Just come.
Oh, I like that.
As you are. We have the people to walk you, it's not just talk.
So these are people who've been there, done that.
They've been there.
So
they've done it.
You leverage
they've seen
the experience.
It all. Yes. So you're going to leverage on the experiences to get to the top.
Amazing. Yeah. Kimberly, I thought you would bring me 57 chocolates to taste.
There's some in the back.
Oh, there's some in the back. That sounds fantastic. Yeah, your final words.
All right, so for all the inspiring entrepreneurs, I've been in business for 9 years, and I wish I had something like this when I was starting out. The What Is Wrong series, I wish I had an opportunity to learn from people who had been in business longer than me. It would have saved me a lot of tears and heartache.
I can imagine. And discouragement, as you said earlier on.
So I really encourage you to come and learn. That's the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur is being willing to learn, and this is where you're going to learn.
Amazing. It's been a short interview, but I could sense the resilience, and the passion with which you talk about what you do. So congratulations, and of course, to you, Stephen, and the team, well done. We'll be there to lend our support and our voice. I believe in this, right? Because I believe young people, have what it takes. They just need a little push. Yeah. So I'm really excited that you've devoted time and energy and resources.
Yes.
Are you open for partners? If there's anybody watching and they want to, jump on and say, I want to be a part of this, how do they reach out?
Oh, I mean, we will put out our numbers and then our email addresses. So
you can put it out now. Then
Okay, so you can call myself or the office line, which is 0244754770.
You want to take it one more time?
0244754770. Or you can also send us an email at thepbiglobal@gmail.com.
Amazing. And you're online across all social media platforms?
All social media platforms.
So
if you want to attend, we have you can go to our social media platforms, into our bio. We have a registration link. You can register there and be part of it.
And same for Chocolate 57.
Yes.
Yeah, across all the platforms.
Exactly. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X at 57 Chocolate.
Amazing. And on that note, that's all time will allow us for a really important conversation on an upcoming forum to build the next generation of young entrepreneurs. I'll say that, see, guys, we have a country to build, right? And we all need to contribute in our own small way. Thank you so much, Lovetta, Stephen, and Kimberly. We'll take a quick break. When we're back, there's a lot more on Breakfast Daily. Don't go away.
This October, Northern Ghana takes center stage. Get ready for the Northern Business Fair 2025, the ultimate one-stop shop for everything made in Ghana in the Savannah, Northern, Northeast, Upper East, and Upper West regions. From hand-woven smocks and intricate crafts to modern manufacturing, innovative packaging of made-in-Ghana products, and thriving homegrown businesses, it's a vibrant celebration of talent, innovation, and authenticity. Brought to you by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM, it's the biggest trade fair showcasing Kenyan SMEs, startups, research bodies, and indigenous brands making waves across the nation. It's happening on Saturday the 25th and Sunday the 26th of October 2025 at the Tamale Sports Stadium. The time is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Want to exhibit? Call 0205-973-973 today and book your space. Don't just hear about it, see it, experience it, and live it. The Northern Business Fair, your market, your connections, your growth. The Northern Business Fair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM and is proudly sponsored by EcoBank, Side Hustle, the Ghana Enterprises Agency, and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority.
This week on Sister Sister, join Chris Carter and her fabulous sisters as they dish out real talk and honest advice to a woman who finds herself stuck between her loving husband and her boss with benefits.
I've been in a romantic relationship with my boss for the past 5 years. Throughout that time, he has taken good care of me, emotionally, physically, and financially. He even extended his generosity to my family, and honestly, I never lacked anything. From the start, we agreed on one thing. Whenever I found the man I truly wanted to marry, I would introduce him and he would respectfully part ways. Sisters, I'm torn. I truly love my husband and I don't want to break his heart. At the same time, I'm afraid of being unemployed. My husband is working, yes, but I'm worried about losing my financial independence. What should I do?
I think that it's not going to help you. So straightforward, I would say, don't do it.
Now, if you are sleeping with your boss, you better make sure that it is a relationship that's going to end in a committed one.
Yes, you love your husband, but you don't respect your husband. Because if you respected your husband, you won't get married to him and still be in the job with your ex.
Tune in this Friday at 9 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV. Sister Sister, real stories, real women, real talk. Sister Sister is proudly sponsored by Gino. Gino truly cares.
You're welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily with me, Jude Duncan. I just brought you a conversation with the People Building Institute, where they are seeking to train the next generation of young entrepreneurs. And if you are interested, you can log on to the website. I think the People Building Institute. If you search them up on social media, you'd find them, and join it. And I'm sure you get something really useful and practical of what they seek to do for the next generation of Ghanaian entrepreneurs. But it's now time for entertainment, and joining me in studio, the host of Channel 1 TV's The Chat Entertainment Review Show, and my own producer for a different thing altogether. Eko Kumsin.
Yeah.
No, you did form.
Oh, you be big man.
Hey, Charlie, you
be big man. You can't lick my brain. I don't
know. When two fanful, let's meet. So we'll leave it there. Jeffrey, Charlie, everything cool. No, but it is spotted on Saturday, so. No, it is spotted.
No,
no, guys, see. every Saturday between what 12
to 1:30.
to 1:30, live on City FM.
Yeah.
Exciting conversations,
The vibe room,
riveting,
you know
conversations
how we do it.
that,
you know how we
cause-
do it.
Anyway, hopefully
It's the only place you go unfiltered. You see things as they are. No one will arrest you.
Yeah.
It's the vibe room. I mean, there is
be measured.
no. Don't set me up. Don't set me up.
What I like about the show is that it's everyday experiences,
Yeah.
you know, from the lens of young people.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
And these are the real issues.
Yeah.
you know.
The lens of Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Gen Zs.
Not necessarily Gen Zs. I mean, we do touch on topics millennials
No, but you're
can
a
relate
Gen
to.
Z. It's not a contention. Anyway,
point.
Echo, I was
Yes,
saying
sir.
to Nana Tufo today that I think Shatta Wale is arguably the greatest dancehall musician in the country.
Wale.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, bring me a bell, and let me ring that tune on the show.
Yeah.
I don't hear him say the pa.
So it be low key. Yeah, I mean, child come inside, we Yoko to mafia.
So for management.
Yeah, for be calculated and things.
I don't know if this question was a setup or
Oh.
was a
It's my personal opinion.
No, but you don't say this in front of Fifi. That's all I'm trying to say.
You share his views on it as well.
Because
he
always has his own mindset about me. And anyway, today's his birthday. Yes, he's arguably the biggest.
He runs PR for Shatta Wale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then.
I'm actually Shatta's best friend.
Oh, really? I would never say anything bad. Remember that issue? Yeah. It was a dark day. What to remember for him?
That's an issue. I went completely off it. You want to remind us of that issue?
Oh, God.
You should move on.
I thought Medica was your friend too.
Oh, yeah, Medica is my friend. That's a very, very good duo there. But yeah, I mean, Shatta Wale, I mean, a very awesome gentleman. I mean, I have had the opportunity to see him actually from afar, to experience him from afar. I was not close, but then you see his. I always say this guy has two personalities. What he does on TV is not what he does when he's off screen or off cameras or all of that. When the cameras go down and social media is off, he's such a human being. Like he relates to you on the human level. Oyenipa, that's the word. Oyenipa. So I mean, ever since I got to know that bit of him, I'm like, I mean, if Shatta does this on social media, I understand, you know. He say, I'll be
But the others have said that the controversies, you know, were too many, and there were certain instances where he crossed the line.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we have those. I mean, you know, there are fine lines when it comes to like this show business, right? At the point where you are going overboard, you are not going overboard because you deliberately want to. You are going, in some instances, but you are going overboard because of the moment. You know, emotions are high, tensions are high. You say certain things that you're not supposed to say. But then again, one thing I love about him is when he knows that, hey, I've crossed the line on this one, he comes back and he tries to put things in proper perspective.
Today's his birthday, so I'll let that slide. That's not always the case, but because today is his birthday, I'll let that slide.
I'll let instances where he didn't put things.
I mean, we've heard him come at I don't know how to put it, like respected people in society. I don't want to say names on this platform, and to date we are yet to see
an apology.
You know,
but if I tell you I was going to apologize to them privately, would you believe?
Who?
Oh no, some of these people that are talking about. He would disrespect them, but he will go and apologize.
No,
to them.
but you don't disrespect them publicly and then do apologize to them.
No, that's what I'm saying. So,
anyways, today is his birthday. I mean, positive for Shatta Wale. Positive for Shatta Wale.
On
so I'm letting it slide.
You know, he will say all the things, but then he will go privately and go and apologize. I mean, one of the most ones we know, or the popular ones we know, is when he went hard on the sitting president, Mahama. He went privately and went to apologize. Mahama accepted him. Do you get?
That wasn't private. I mean, we all saw videos.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So what happens to today is his birthday? Therefore, let's just keep it positive for Shatta.
Anyway, I mean, he's such a human being, and I want to wish him the best in life. One of the things he did was when he went hard on Ramondacha, he actually came back to say,
no, the Yoko then we enter there. If you come back with a different, if you come out with a different humble, your outlook will be different.
Yeah. So anyway. I mean, he's a fine gentleman. His music is good. His music is good.
And then on the back of that, he's having the Shatta Fest. It's happening this evening.
Shatta
tomorrow as well. There were a whole lot of artists coming through. His favorite musician currently, Sarkodie, is passing through. Of course, medical will be there.
And it makes what you say about him so spot on, because I remember that like very nasty beef, between him and Shatta and Sarkodie. The dick songs they had for each other. But now it's like the bromance is
there.
Peak levels.
It's there.
I mean, it's actually good to see that they go beyond some of these misunderstandings they have, because at the end of the day, you are a powerhouse, I'm a powerhouse. If we come together, we are only winning as a country. No one is losing.
Can Shatta Wale and Sarkodie ever fill the O2 Arena?
Oh, that should be easy.
Like the two of them together.
Yeah.
That's
that's
very
a walk
easy.
in the park.
Shatta alone would do that. Sarkodie alone would do that.
Really?
Put together. I mean, people will not get tickets to buy.
The proverbial O2 Arena in
I feel like the O2 Arena is even like we are making it too much of a standard. Like if
so
you don't
it's
fill
like,
the O2 Arena, then you are not a
it's
good
like
act.
it's like the standard.
But it's neither here nor there. I mean, I don't need to fill the O2 Arena to
be
to tell that I'm a great
No,
act.
but it enriches your CV. I mean, you can brag with it. You can.
I mean, but if you don't, the fact that you don't fill the O2 Arena doesn't mean that you're not a good act. That's what I'm trying to say.
But I'm saying it enriches your CV.
Anyway,
you might get other deals with it. It has to be a CV.
What will you say, and I'll stay on with you, Jeffrey, what will you say has been like your favorite Shatta Wale moment?
Favorite Shatta Wale moment.
No, you have to mention. Yeah, the reason why
I think it would be when he and Stonebwoy had to reconcile Ketsi Abeku Santana, now the deputy CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority. And, while they were reconciling, he gave Stonebwoy a peg. Yeah.
It was Kofi Aban.
No, Stonebwoy.
No, what I'm saying is it was Kofi Aban.
Okay, but the moderator was Abeku Santana. That's what I mentioned.
Okay, Kofi Aban also played a role.
Yeah, he played like a key role in bringing both of them together.
And then he gave Stonebwoy a peck on his cheek. I was like, nah, this guy.
Shatta always be Shatta.
But he has got the line.
I mean, it is what it is.
In 4 times.
I've actually seen an interview of Stonebwoy saying when it comes to lyrics, Shatta Wale is no match. But hey, today is Shatta Wale's birthday. So,
but what do you think about
that? Before you come and tag me, a beam boy.
I think the Streets Crown is the biggest dancehall music out there right now. Right? Streets Crown, arguably.
Arguably.
I mean, to see the dancehall president himself, Vybz Kartel, jump on it, it tells you how heavy the song is. No, but
it's not all the time that your friends,
exactly. And the song
embrace.
The song is that good.
Oh no, the song is good. Actually,
good.
It's number 1 on the Channel 1 countdown. So it's good. It's a very, very good song.
So he's having the Shatta Fest tomorrow and Saturday. A whole lot of artists are passing through, so do what you do. And it's free at the Independence Square. Free. And when Shatta Wale says it's free, I mean, you need to come, and all you need is
a mind to come and have fun.
To re-energize yourself, because it's back-to-back fun you are going to have.
Will you say his collaboration with Beyonce, for example, was like the turning point? I mean, he had always been big even before the act there, but I feel like it propelled his career into a different level.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, if you have the whole Beyonce, if you're on a song
the
with
Lion
Beyonce,
King album,
already. I mean, it tells so much about you. It tells also so much about how far your name has traveled. Because I mean, I do not buy into this whole conversation of they were doing some screen thing, they never met, blah blah blah, and everything. Whatever it is, if you go into his catalog, if you go into Beyonce's catalog today, and you're looking for a song between Beyonce and Shatta Wale, it is there. It is registered in the annals of history.
It's as big as it comes.
So I think we didn't really milk that opportunity.
I sure.
We didn't really milk it.
No, we didn't milk it. No.
The controversies also sometimes didn't help, right? Because
brandishing it.
Yeah, another time he's insulting somebody. Then the focus now shifts from instead of all attention being channeled towards promoting that collaboration, is now we are talking about something. But it is brand, right?
It's also the negative energy of our industry, right? Because everybody will want to downplay it as much as possible instead of everybody coming together to push it as much as possible.
But you can't really tell people how to take it.
No.
So it's largely dependent on Shatta Wale himself and some of the things he went about saying and doing while that song was released.
No, but what I'm saying is, prior to that too, let's put that one aside. Even if Shatta Wale is the worst human being ever, if today, I'm saying even if I'm coming, even if he is, if he wins the Grammy today, it will be Shatta Wale has won the Grammy, but it will be Shatta Wale from Ghana.
Yeah.
Do you get?
Yeah.
So are you saying because if he wins the Grammy today, let's say if he backs a nomination today for the Grammys, which is yet to be released, the nominations are yet to be released, people will surely downplay it. How he has influenced the process.
For those things, you really have
That's
no
what I'm saying, that
control
we
over
need
them.
to move away from that. So every win that is struck, regardless of the artist, let's do our weight behind the person and move and support the person. So
Interesting.
that's it.
So I think the consensus is he's a great music
Yeah,
act.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
celebrating.
He's the biggest. He's the biggest in this generation.
The biggest in this generation.
In this
That's a
generation.
strong.
But
That's a strong.
This generation, it transcends like 4 generations also. Which of the generations?
Okay, let me say currently, because we have greats, we still respect them
Yeah.
for the role they've played in Ghanaian
Interesting.
music.
Talking about the Shatta Fest that will be happening pretty shortly, we expect a lot more of that in December.
Yeah.
What are some of the new additions, right? Because we remember Year of Return.
Yeah.
Then it became After the Return. Then it became Beyond the Return.
Yeah.
You know, now we are hearing something else.
Yeah.
Black Star
Experience.
The Black Star Experience.
Yeah.
How different is this from previous?
So I was there at the launch. It happened at the banquet hall at the
Presidency.
Jubilee House, you know. And this time around, they are looking at having a series of events across different regions. You know, previously the focus point was largely in Accra.
Even
But-
Accra service is just like
You know, just
Lamont.
higher. But the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, the Ghana Tourism Authority, the Black Star Experience Secretariat, this time around they are deliberately spreading events across all regions in Ghana. So there are going to be events in Takoradi, there are going to be events in Volta region, the northern parts, and Accra here as well. There's the Dirty Rave?
Dirty December.
Dirty December.
Yeah.
There's going to be an event for kids as well here in Accra. So to me, it's really beautiful to see that finally we are learning to, or appreciating the fact that fun shouldn't only be centered here in the capital city. Because there are beautiful places across regions if you travel the length and breadth
But
of the
have we
country.
gotten to a point where we have the resources to spread it across? Because sometimes it catches on because it is centralized, right? So everything's happening at one location. There's more, interest. But if you spread it across, I'm not sure people want to come to Ghana and go to other parts of the country too.
It's difficult, right? Because we do not, to be very honest, we do not have the resources across board.
Yeah, exactly.
You get? Now, a case in point or an example that I can point to recently is when I had a conversation with Bulldog or Bullgod, DJ Mensa, and Wanda Production, the technical producer for Events Factory, for Sarkodie's Rapperholic in Kumasi.
Yeah.
Would you believe it if I told you that they had to haul all the equipment from Accra to Kumasi to have this event? Do you get how tedious that is?
That's
They have to put it in a
expensive.
truck, move it all the way to Kumasi to have this event. So what it then means is that if they are going to Takoradi, they have to move things there.
Go
If they
to
are
the
going-
northern region.
They have to move things
Yeah.
there because there are some logistics companies there who can provide stage and everything. But on the magnitude that they want to have it, it will be very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to move things to go and add on. So it's good. It's a very, very interesting and a point that we welcome. But we need to invest more into logistics.
Yeah.
It will be logistically challenging if we
Spot
want to
on.
do some of these
Spot
things
on.
across
Spot on.
the
And
country.
I'm one person that can confirm that the Minister for Tourism, Creative Arts and Culture is so big on domestic tourism. We've had other ministers go so big on getting diasporans coming to the country, experiencing just Accra. But her main focus, if you've had an encounter with her, she said in numerous interviews that she's so big on domestic tourism, and I believe gradually we'll get there. And I also think one way we can make this thing possible is we should create territorial specific events. For instance, if Dirty Rave thrives here in Accra, we shouldn't think, it's probably going to thrive in the northern region or maybe the eastern region. You
Because
get it?
even the culture is also different. right?
Exactly. The living here in Accra is probably different from the living in a particular region. So let's create territorial specific events, for every region, and then gradually we can build on from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, I'm super excited about it.
I'm sure in the
looking
coming
forward.
days we'll be looking more into all of that.
Yeah, and then it actually kicks start today. The whole Black Star experience, with the
Starting
Afro
off
show,
today.
Afro Show
Yeah,
Festival.
I interviewed Prof. Kobe Mensah yesterday.
So it's happening today and tomorrow.
We wish them well. We support.
Ghana weekend.
We support.
We'll find something.
Yeah,
to
but again,
Daddy
Chef
Lumba. I mean, Daddy Lumba. We will talk about Daddy Lumba. No, we'll talk about Chef Abi after, but Daddy Lumba. Yes.
Just brief thoughts on what's happening.
It's interesting
what's all
because
of this?
they've been to court. They've had their first hearing. Now the families or both parties must. There's a legal term for it. They must do something their responses. They must file their responses all of that. So that's what is good.
But where does this leave? Where does this leave your funeral? So what? The funeral is still on hold.
It's not being put on hold as it stands, but that
so
is
it's coming off.
As it stands, the date is still 6th December.
Yeah,
but we don't know who will perform the widowhood rites.
Exactly. That is what the fight is over now. So Akosua Sewa says she's the legally wedded wife of Daddy Lumba. They married some years back in Germany, and then so she's the one who's entitled to perform the widowhood rites.
But we don't know under which marriage, whether it was ordinance or it was.
No, I think it was it?
Okay, I don't know. I don't have details.
So per the injunction, statement I saw, it was sort of a court wedding that makes her the sole and legal wife of Daddy Lumba. Yeah.
So that's ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but an interesting twist to this whole thing is how the children are saying they are not part of this whole.
Yeah, and I'm understanding now that some family members are also pitching camp with other or either of the spouses. Is that correct?
I mean, everybody must go where they want.
But I love the tangent the kids are on. You know, the man said this whole thing in his song Makramo. There was a part where he says when he dies, we shouldn't forget his wife. She's really helped him. Other than that, he will become a restless ghost. So
he foresaw this.
Yeah. And it's happening.
Music.
And it's happening. And this song was released as far back as 1992.
I mean, there are so many things when you talk about Daddy Lumba's music. He has said so many things. All of that. If you look at what is happening right now, it tells a proper story of it. So, Charlie,
we want to give our legend a restful rest, a befitting rest.
Our legend,
and I hope that the family
legend,
are able to take this out of the courts and come to a gentleman agreement and. Sure.
So ladies agreement.
Ladies agreement. Right, and we take it there. But there's also other exciting news, right? Chef Abi.
Yeah. I mean,
Charlie, she's doing so much.
The lady of the moment.
Yeah, I think this is for me one of the biggest food events by an influencer. Let's be specific, by an influencer that I've seen in Accra. I mean, she's done very well for herself. I hear it's free food.
Yeah, free food for over 15,000 people. Hey. That's not easy.
Now, how is she funding this? Do we know?
You know, she's an influencer, so it's easy to. I wouldn't say it's easy, but she got brands on to support her. You know, she served people at various vantage points. Kwabenya, Fadama, Ifua Sutherland Park.
Yeah, but this really influenced.
Yeah, this influence and the kind of people that came out to support her. It tells you the kind of personality she is. You know, you had. People like Kojo Sheldon, you know, other influencers, big influencers who have huge platforms, you know, coming to support you.
Angel Town was
but we're seeing the growth of like influencers selling products, you know. So there's Pitch Porials, I think there's another one. Porials Pitch.
Vendor Vault. What's it?
Vendor Vault. Vendor
Vault. Which influencer is behind that?
It's the same person.
No.
Pitch.
And I think
it's not the same person.
It is.
Porials Pitch is Dulcie Boateng.
Vendor Vault is Dulcie.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Vendor Vault is who?
They were friends before, but it's not. It's
anyway,
not
so I think Chef Abi has done so much well for herself. I'm so proud of her growth. I think she met the TikTok president some time ago, you know, and all of that.
She's actually verified on TikTok.
Wow, that's big. We wish her well. But some birthday celebrants in the house, and it's our singular honor, you know, to wish El Patrito, Charlie, no, Don Pato.
Don Pato,
Patrick Ofe, Flor Pato, he's a floor manager here with us as Channel 1 TV.
Come, like after my cue.
We have to go now.
Master, is your phone on silent?
Please put your phone on silent.
Or else you walk out.
so diligent at what he does, and we want to wish him happy. He's always the first person to send me a birthday when it's time for his children. Sometimes 5 a.m. cry, you send a message,
quick.
We appreciate what you do here, with us at Channel One TV. And that's what time will allow us for an exciting conversation today on Breakfast Daily. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Thank you so much, Akor. I've had so much fun. I'm sure you did as well. Catch you same time next week. Bye-bye.